Game 2 is upon us. Bilibili Gaming versus Vici Gaming is coming right on back, and I am so excited that we're finally back into the LPL. It feels good. We've had a break for so long. We've been watching all the teams compete internationally, and finally we're back. We're in the home studio. We're back on track, and it feels good. Good to have you with me, Rusty.
You know, the thing that really got me as well from that last game is that we got team fights. We had a lot of action. We had a lot of crazy things, and this may not have been the matchup where we expected those to be seen at all. You know, Vici aren't always known for their team fighting, but BLG, who are known for it, they were matched. They actually met their match when it came to team fighting front to back. Audi with a fantastic showing. FLICKR with a fantastic showing as well. And this second game could still be packed with action.
Yeah, it very well could be, as now we have the Aurelia banned away from FLICKR after that Game 1 performance. He didn't have a great job during laning phase, but was able to pick up plenty of kills and keep Jin Zhao on his toes for the duration of the rest of that game. That does mean BLG on the blue side coming into this game too are going to priority pick themselves up. Camille and Lucian will fall over to Vici if they decide to go that route and actually lock it in right away.
Yeah, locking themselves in the Lucian super early. Perhaps a denial from Jin Zhao, but at the same time, Lucian just a strong AD carry to be spoken towards, which means we're not going to be seeing the bruises down there for Vici unless they flex that Lucian into the middle lane. And alongside things we will not be seeing, the Udyr should go back to the bench, hopefully.
Jax is the lock-in. Hey, you could take Jax into the top lane. We could see an Udyr. Who knows? This is
not
2018.
holding you to that
Anything goes.
That is true. That is very true.
Patch 8.11. You can play whatever you want. I'm still just waiting for FLICKR to break out the Mordekaiser mid. I still don't know why it hasn't happened yet, but plenty of time to see how that's going to shake out, as Lulu is the pickup now from BLG. The anime squad taking the anime support.
I think what is interesting, of course, Lulu can flex towards the middle lane, is where is the Camille and the Jax actually going? Do they play against each other in the top lane? Camille's more often seen as a jungler lately, with the Ornns and the Mundos running around in the top lane instead. Even Aatrox and other options up there in the top lane. The Jax can match that lane regardless of where it goes, and this is a very clear indicator of where it's going.
Yeah, the Poppy now locked in for BLG. Yet another big-eyed anime character to round out the roster.
Definitely true. Of course, Poppy is one of those weird champions that doesn't really fit a composition.
Yeah.
You've never really known where Poppy's place is. Team fight relevance is super awkward for him to fulfill Amazing J in this instance. The teleport reliance, the flank reliance is super high, but there's a lot of utility that Poppy still provides for protecting a team. And for me, they've seen the Lucian come in. They've got a Lulu right there. This could actually just be a Cogmore comp here for BLG. Pick themselves a hyper carry in the bottom lane and just go ham on the team fights.
Now that is a bold statement, especially considering Road the Wanderer has been so prone to track outside of that bottom lane. He's going to have to stick bottom and just hug Jin Zhao for the duration of that laning phase. And especially on the patch 8.11 meta, where 80 carries are already so weak, do you want to bring a puppy dog like Kog'Maw into an environment like this, as Morgana and Tahm Kench banned away two champions that would support a hyper carry?
I mean, to be honest with you, I still think that Cogmore is strong. I think that Ezreal, Cogmore, Kaiser is another one that you need to be looking towards as well in terms of strong AD carries, and Lucian is the other one that tends to fit that bill for ADs with still relevance, still with strength down there. I think the Cogmore, you know, in the right hands, can still put in some hyper carry performances with the composition to actually allow it to do so as well. Camille Lulu from set 1 today is a very dynamic duo, with jungle and mid lane being free to invade constantly, push mid lane and leave. But of course, with the Morgana gone, with the Tahm Kench gone, with the Rakan missing as well, it's now quite risky to pick that.
Darius locked in for Vici Gaming here.
Yeah.
A very confident champion. We'll see where that ends up going. Look, it's 8-11. We're expecting it most likely to go to the top lane, but it's 8-11. So we don't really know at this point, as it could be changed up at the last second. Jin Zhao now looking for his AD carry. This is going to be the hyper carry to try and round things out. Kai'Sa is the choice of Jin Zhao.
Yeah, I think for the moment we default to saying Darius is going to be that top lane, and we see if something wacky comes out afterwards. Darius Alistar sounds pretty badass in a 2v2 at the bottom lane, but BLG will still need to reveal their entire composition. That gives Vici the onus on deciding where everything will go in the end. Of course, with Darius top, with Jax in the jungle, they're missing a mid laner unless they want to flex that Lucian, and that's the composition rounded out. Speaking towards that composition, I'd still love me a Vladimir, you know, something that can team fight super well. I still want to see that from Vici.
And this is where we have to look to Fire Rain, still a young player in the Vici organization, previously the Mordekaiser one trick from solo queue and beyond. Can he step up to fill the shoes of Easyhoon, the world champion, who's sitting right behind him on that substitute roster of the 10-man squad for Vici? He's getting counter pick in this, so he will get the chance to take a gander. And with that, Yasuo is locked in for Vici Gaming.
Of course, the flex still possible with Yasuo into AD carrying the Lucian in the mid lane, but it's less likely this time around. Knowing what he's up against in the middle lane, Lulu, not a high damage dealing champion. Yasuo could scale up through that decently well. Has some kill threat with the Jax jungling as well. Lots of crowd control available from Swift to kick it off, enable the tornadoes, and Snow and Caveman going into that bottom lane want to try and pressure the Kaiser, keep Jin Zhao down. If they don't allow that to happen, if Jin Zhao starts to grow a little bit too powerful, Lulu always relevant. A lot of things
Absolutely.
at once for Vici need to go right.
Yeah, and Vici, we saw them take a pick-based strategy in that game one that ended up working out for them as they were able to focus down Mole. Mole is taking a much safer champion here on this Lulu who can speed himself up with that Whimsy, speed away, and even in case things get dire, use that overgrowth to make sure that he's able to really knock up and try and escape. So we'll keep an eye on Mole's positioning, but Vici are not running a picked composition in this game too. They're running something a little bit more aggressive, perhaps looking for a few more fights with the composition they've got set up.
And Vici were doing that very well in the first game when it came to generating picks in the first place. Working through Swift, what was a Skarner is now going to be a Jax, but getting those kills was fantastically well done from them, enabling his team to look for further objectives or kills, and that was the place where Vici faltered. So that first step, still a possibility here. Jax ganks with an Alistar, with a Darius, always have a high probability of being successful. Top and bottom being long lanes with crowd control available. A great way to get that opening. But in the jungle mid 2v2, that's the place where BLG can fight back, and they've got some serious bite. If Lulu can push mid lane and doesn't get pressured out, if she can work with a Camille and they can find that Jax, nothing Jax can do.
Yeah, and this is where we're looking at the Chieftain and Mole, the two newcomers to BLG as of the spring split, to continue to learn and grow, playing against Swift and Fire Rain. Could be an opportunity for the two of them to open up even more as we are set to load onto the Rift for this Game 2 between Bilibili Gaming and Vici Gaming, as Vici hunting down redemption and BLG continuing to forge their own path across the LPL.
Of course, if you were wondering, Amazing J recently pulled a sneaky and dressed up as a maid.
Is that what we call that now?
Well, I mean, that's just what I'm going to call it.
Okay.
You don't have to call it that. That's,
sure.
But Sneaky did it first.
Well,
so I got to give some credit where
didn't
it's
Box
due.
Box do it first?
Okay, look. Pro player.
All right.
Either way, Amazing J,
Amazing
you'll
J.
see a lot of signs of Amazing J dressed up as a maid now, and he does love to make fun of himself. He has a great time doing it.
Again, the self-declared most handsome player in the LPL. As, rode over the wall. Going to tag Snow with that Winter's Bite. Just lets him know that the chill, cold winter is coming. And that he should be ready for more action down there. As we've got a topside start from both of the junglers, leash from both top laners. Chieftain even to use that smite to continue tracking around. Swift is actually holding on to his smite.
He's about to get spotted actually by that ward, so they know he's going level 2 mid lane. Mole, fully aware of it. He's still getting ganked.
Is he though?
He's not watching.
There were no pings, there were no question marks.
We
he
saw
showed
him
up temporarily on the mini-map, but Mole might have been distracted in that one vital instant, and that's going to cost him a flash.
And that summoner spell could result in disaster, honestly, for the side of BLG. Having the flash gone on that Lulu in the middle lane, Yasuo can now pressure. There's an ignite there for Fire Rain, so he's got kill threat potentially. Swift can come back. He can do the blue buff after the Scuttle Crab, just look towards middle lane again, play around where there isn't vision, and that may even mean that Chieftain has to change his pathing to just protect his middle laner just that little bit more. That's always an unfortunate thing to see when he passes through vision. You could see the wards there. You know he's coming, but you just didn't see it.
Bit of a tragedy as that mid lane now might suffer just a bit. Audi trading very happily against Amazing J.
And if you cast your mind back, Dom, to a long, long time ago, Amazing J was the person who played Darius.
Yes.
It may have been a defeat, but he was the one that brought out the Darius. He was the one that innovated new top lane champions. This time around, Audi, the understudy of him for an entire split, is going to bring out that Darius against him and try and keep that Poppy down. Of course, the compositions don't play out in such a linear way. Amazing J's job is to keep Audi away from the carries. Audi's job is to find them and kill each other. So they're not going to be interacting with each other too much out of laning phase. One offense, one defense.
I'm sure we'll get to see some exciting trades for them as the game goes on because Audi's happily pushing away. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Mole just trading back against Fire Rain, trying to track and keep as much CS as possible. As long as attention is focused on this mid lane, on that top lane, that means Jin Zhao is free to farm on that Kai'Sa.
And random interaction time. The last time that we saw Amazing J play the Darius, he was against the Camille in the top lane. And he did well against the Camille. And the reason that he did so well is you can pull them out of the hookshot.
Yes.
So that is an interaction to consider, given that Camille is on the other team. You can't often hookshot away to safety. He can pull you out of it.
I feel like that's the worst case scenario if you're ever trying to retreat to safety as a Camille. But here goes Fire Rain. He's building this wave up. Swift is looking for the follow-up gank that we mentioned earlier. Mole halfway through the cooldown on that flash. Fire Rain steps up to try and bait Mole in, but he's playing very slow, waiting for the wave to crash onto the turret.
Yeah, he'll keep himself with a slight CS advantage and a free recall if he chooses. May not be enough for a full Zeal, however, so not feeling too good about that, especially with Zeal going up in cost. So instead, he's just going to get a lot of daggers.
Yeah.
So many daggers that he can start throwing at people, I suppose.
That's the Vaxil done, the dagger, dagger, dagger.
The unfortunate thing about having that many daggers is the 600 gold for a Brawler's Glove, and then, of course, the upgrade cost to Zeal. So the item slots are not feeling all that efficient, but he'll get a lot more Qs off with his current recall.
Well, he just has to use that potion and drop the control ward, and then he's okay.
If you're losing one of those slots to be a Brawler's Glove, that is already a tragic start to the game.
That's a feels bad. But the wave is still being pushed into the bottom lane. Jin Zhao is happily catching these CS well as best he can. Misses quite a handful of those. Now 6 CS behind Snow, who's trying to dictate the pace of this bottom lane. As Snow running that press the attack and teleport as his standard. But we're seeing Jin Zhao run press the attack as well with the nerfs to fleet footwork. But here comes the invade from Vici. They're going to continue just bullying out in this bottom lane. There's no defense on the bottom half of the map right now. BLG are completely committed to the safe laning phase.
And really great stuff from Road, watching the intricacies of that lane. Swift now in the middle lane, no flash, remember.
Oh, immediate teleport started from Amazing J and canceled. Audi calm enough to hold the trigger on his own, just in case a fight were to break out, but that does mean Audi gets a faster recall. Ooh, wow, nearly gets AJ there.
You could see he was looking as well. If he stopped that recall, Audi just wins the lane outright, gets the push, controls Amazing J. Knows that there's no teleport available for Audi, however, Amazing J, so he'll walk back to lane. The wave will reset in an okay position for the top laner of BLG. Things could be worse, and he'll have the teleport up sooner than that of Audi.
But look at this, Vici are non-stop roaming through this mid lane. If that gank went through, that would have been the 4th so far in 6 minutes. This is a completely different style of Vici, constantly pressuring one lane here.
I mean, they haven't stopped him from farming, though. Mole's still there. Mole's going to have the flash available in 30 seconds. He's going to be okay for himself. You know, the end result isn't a successful kill. It does mean that he hasn't been able to work. Oh, that was a really nice whimsy.
Yeah, denying the knockup completely and the follow-up last breath.
Yeah, denying the ultimate just saved his own life. The little details there from Mole were incredibly well executed.
Just tracking the interaction in this matchup, making sure that he's staying safe in that laning phase as Yasuo will just continue to farm up Fire Rain on the far side, and still Swift running through that mid lane just in case the last breath actually connected. But still Mole, like you said, he's got that flash. He's got the wild growth to pop himself back up in health and try to knock away anybody who's close. And that does mean that Vici, they're setting up vision inside of the jungle to track Chieftain right now, but nothing yet has come of it outside of constant ganks in this mid lane.
Of course, Road even able to come over and help him a little bit more. Mole get that reset, which gives him a blue buff, not a recall. So he's still going to be hanging around in this middle lane with nothing doing besides being consistently pushed in and threatened by the Vici roster. With no teleports available from their top laners, it is just going to be a farm battle towards 6. See who can get those ultimates first and have a bigger map impact across the board. And Swift currently with a red buff should be in a point of power as a result of getting that.
He is level 6, whereas Chieftain's still only that level 5, denied a bit by the early scuttle control from Swift. But that means that he should be able to catch up rather soon. But still, Vici, they're maintaining vision on Chieftain and constantly ganking the mid lane. They seem to have a finger on the pulse of wherever BLG are at all times.
And the place that you will have to be directing your attention towards is that Infernal Dragon. That is going to be a point of focus for both of these respective teams, and that's why we allude towards the teleports in the top lane just before. If the teleport comes out, Caveman.
Yeah, stepping really far forward. Only level 5 and no heal from Snow. Finally, he ticks over to 6, but Swift with the invade steals away red buff, and Chieftain, ooh, yeah, just has a good old hug on the wall.
Check the ward though, just to the left of him. So free control ward potentially placed deep by Swift, as well as stealing that red buff.
Sees the control ward that was just cleared in the river by Swift and is still tracking onto Fire Rain. We're actually watching Swift dictate the pace of this jungle matchup against Chieftain. He's not able to convert it into anything just yet, but passively we're seeing about 1,000 gold advantage from Vici because of this laning phase. Audi is 24 CS up against Amazing J.
Yeah.
Snow is another 20 CS up against Jin Zhao.
Audi doing very well for himself in that top lane. Unsurprising, of course, having a Poppy matchup and getting CS advantage. That's almost expected in that matchup, to be honest, to have a differential around 20, no more than 30, or you're starting to really have a bad time.
Yeah.
Is the way that you would contextualize that top lane. Poppy always going to be relevant, though, when you hit those team fights. You have all that disengaged to protect your carries, and that is a lot of this game plan for BLG. We mentioned it in draft, but again, Kaiser, late game team fighting, mid to late game team fighting. You're against a Yasuo, Jax, Camille, and Darius, even the Lucian. They're all jumping on your head. But there is a Lucian, there is a Poppy, there are things that will keep you alive. It is going to be a one-man wrecking crew against 5 juggernauts sprinting at him.
And this is where we have to look to Jin Zhao's comfort on these hyper carries. He's played them before, he's very proficient on them, seemed to have favored them over a few patches ago. But he'll have to really step up against Vici if he wants to have a good performance in this one. We crossed over to the 10-minute mark. And despite some good push pressure onto the bottom tier 1, it's not resulting in too much as AJ will just step up and steal away the Raptors of Swift.
And this is a more Vici-like game. When you speak towards styles of teams, this is slow, it's methodical. The gold lead incrementally grows for Vici. Perhaps an objective starts to come out here as well with the Drake being considered. But ultimately, if the game stays at this pace, it stays slow, that's still pretty much a style win for Vici game.
And look at this, Vici, it seems like they knew that Mole was rotating towards the top side of the map for a gank. Swift is going to push and take that very early Infernal Dragon and set his team up for some later scaling, perhaps to match that of the Kai'Sa. If they get the opportunity, and the next dragon is another mountain.
A completely uncontested first Drake, of course, just having control of the river outright. The push in the bottom lane as well with the resets, good recall timings from the side of Vici to enable that in the first place. We just saw the Lulu go topside. Even if they didn't have vision, Yasuo's controlling the middle lane, has the Phantom Dancer now as well, so even more so than before. And with a defensive itemization choice from a Lulu, going a cloth armor with boots early, no lane pressure. You can maybe push in, but you're never going to have kill threat.
Ooh, that's calling onto Road. He brings himself up the chimney. Swift with a flash stun, another flash. Goes down, Road will fall. The first death of BLG in this game.
And another clean execution from Vici when it comes to getting these kills off. This time Caveman is the one to kick it all off, does the damage. Swift comes in just to hit it home. Vici, they get a kill. They now get pressure on this bottom lane turret. Doesn't look like they'll be able to get it anytime soon. You can see BLG rotating here to defend. But still a very hopeful start for them if they can convert these into objectives.
Try to get themselves more of an advantage over BLG, bring us to that game 3 and reset the series and continue to run out the clock. Again, Vici have not won a single game against BLG or their old organization of IME since 2016. We were hoping that 2018 summer would be the course correction for the team after their performance in spring. They're certainly off to a good start in this game 2, and their performance in game 1 answered a lot of the questions over what the organization has been doing during the break.
Training up the rookies, it seems like,
Yeah.
as well, to be significantly better players than you would expect. They do get the recall off here from the other side. And for Vici, in this second game, they don't get outscaled completely this time around. They do have a good late game damage output. Perhaps not late game team fight, but the damage output is definitely noteworthy. A Jax, a Yasuo, a Darius, all going to do so much work. But BLG want to play that front to back, so that you can't. All right.
Bit of a mistake. Whoa, AJ gets pulled over the wall. Swift is thinking about hopping in, but doesn't quite catch up to Amazing J as Blue Buff is successfully stolen out by Vici. They brought 4 members and they take it.
And we're well past 20 CS as a difference now in the top lane. It's up to 40. Audi completely controlling Amazing J. And we said this at the start of the set. You want to beat BLG? It makes a lot of sense to keep Amazing J down. You prevent him from teamfighting, you prevent him from shot calling then perhaps, and suddenly BLG do not look nearly as clean as they otherwise do.
That said, we're seeing a smart rotation onto the bottom tier 1, but teleport from Audi from behind. There's no match yet from Amazing J. He's going to start teleporting in. Molt steps back as BLG, they're able to group up his fight. Road is the target. He's in the front. Knockup denies the initial engagement, but it's a bounce house. 4 members stack up, and the AoE shreds through. BLG are forced to retreat to the turret.
And they'll take the tower for the 2 kills definitely as an end result with no dragon available. BLG, it doesn't look good for them. They do give over kills to Vici. The risk is this. A wave now starting to crash. The turret starts to fall under threat. It doesn't look like there's a lot that they can do to prevent this trade coming out from Vici with the kills on top.
Meanwhile, red buff is being taken. Looks like BLG are happy to give up this bottom tier 1. 2 members down. They don't want to risk the dive. They don't want to risk any more kills falling into Vici's lap, because this is a snowball composition. Yasuo, Darius are starting to pick up some steam.
Yeah, normally you're okay with trading kills for objectives and whatnot, but giving kills over to the composition that Vici have got for themselves, man, that is risky. You give a kill to a Darius, he gets a reset in the team play. You give a kill to a Yasuo, he gets closer to that Infinity Edge item spike that just feels so desperately bad at the moment with that extra gold cost. You see the fight here, it's just a powerhouse composition, bounce house everywhere, up and down, dunking their opponents.
Chieftain actually getting knocked up as he was hookshotting in. That said, though, BLG, they send 4 members to the top side of the map to try and push the tier 1 before Snow can defend it. They've got a numerical advantage, and they're going to convert it into a turret take. So they're still setting the pace over Vici in terms of these turrets.
Yeah.
I just don't know if they can turn that gold into kills anytime soon.
You're seeing the experience of BLG come out trumps here just that little bit more compared to Vici, who are still a fairly new team, particularly as the 5v5 themselves. So another objective secured, good map rotations, and that was a result of Vici committing to the bottom lane turret, which was not the wrong choice. It's just that you have to acknowledge you're going to be slow to top lane. BLG, though, with that experience, send everyone up there. They control the vision, they control the wards, and they secure the objective to keep themselves well in this game.
You can see the gold right now. It's fairly even across the mid and bottom lane, but where it stands out, Swift and Audi are both about 900 gold ahead of their opponents. And that's a Darius versus Poppy and Jax versus Camille. Something BLG are probably going to have to take care of sometime soon. Either that or we're looking for some big late game outplays to try and get through the raw stats that Audi and the rest of Vici are going to bring to bear. BLG, they're actually turning onto the Rift Herald here.
Doesn't look like they want to commit themselves to that one. They don't know where Vici is. They're all missing, which means they are coming. So they back away. They play the cautious game here. BLG now looking towards middle lane. There's the last remaining outer turret for BLG to group up towards. You can only hope that they don't just sit here in ARAM and try and 5v5 team fight if they're not feeling strong enough.
You can only hope, but it seems like it's not going to be an ARAM. The Mountain Dragon has spawned, and Vici have set their sights on it. Meanwhile, BLG heading up to what looks to be Rift Herald.
Yeah, so we actually look towards the itemization of both of these teams. Not contesting the Mountain Dragon is a curious choice when you actually look at BLG and you're like, man, they got a lot of items. They should be feeling quite strong for themselves, but it's not about going for the team fight. They actually want to try and keep tempo on the map and try and force errors out of Vici. They are coming over to respond to this, but
Caveman steps up. AJ is in the back. Rift Herald has been picked up, but somebody needs to loot it. Audi has been knocked out of the fight, and the fight engages Caveman. The flash 3-man knockup. Fire Rain goes in for the last breath, but Jinjiao is firing across the back. Does he have the damage? As BLG, they've got the buff, and they've got the disengage.
They actually got it and got out completely clean. Of course, no one dying. Someone is definitely used, but no flashes besides Amazing J's was used after an Alistar Yasuo knock-up combo.
Yeah.
The fact they disengaged that cleanly is very surprising. It looked dire for them, but they're able to survive. They're able to hold on. That means they continue to scale up with the Herald now free to be used in a place of their choosing, naturally the mid lane.
You would want to see that mid-tier 1 go down unless they can try to get lucky with a tier 2 and maybe an inhibitor push on the other side, but that's a small window that they have to use this and get a temporary gold advantage. Vici just have the flat stats of the Mountain Dragon throughout the rest of the game. So BLG, they've got a narrow window to try and close this gap before BLG continue to put more distance between them and BLG. And taking a look at that next dragon, another wind.
Hell yeah, it is. I don't even need to make the joke anymore.
You don't even need to make the reference at this point.
Nope.
But I think that we should, just so everyone's aware of what's happening here on Summoner's Rift. Baron's up in about 80 seconds. And Vici, they're still got themselves a gold advantage. They're still dictating the pace of the game over BLG.
Yeah, and again, a lot of this is through the top side of the map, but Chieftain is the place that I want to look at. If we look at Amazing J compared to Audi, they're just different styles of champions. The gold's going to be massive. Yes, it's going to be relevant, but not as much as the jungle role. These guys just need to relax that a little bit more.
Yeah,
They're in.
Caveman's actually stepping up and takes quite a bit of damage.
Good
he's
timing.
forced to back away, and immediately Chieftain shows up, drops the Rift Herald. Audi's in the bottom lane, culling to clear the minion wave, but that's going to do nothing against Shelly the Herald. She charges up for a full smash into the turret, and it breaks down. Tier 1 gone. 3 turrets to 1 BLG.
Vici had to have seen this coming as well, the focus around the middle lane, a place they should be looking, but Caveman just loses the skirmish, doesn't respect the damage output, and more importantly, the crowd control combo coming out of BLG, and suddenly they get themselves the turret. It's only 1,000 gold, the difference at 19 minutes when it started so promising for Vici. BLG holding on immaculately, considering the state of this game. And to come back to that jungle point, the reason that it still concerns me is they're both Trinity Force stacking junglers. So Swift's going to go towards that Trinity Force on the Jax. Camille also wants to get that Trinity Force, but look at the difference in the items as well. Jax gone for tank items, just the warriors for Chieftain. So he's fragile, doesn't have the item spikes. He's behind the ball. Means that Swift will get there first. And when you're a jungler and you hit the mid to late stages of the game, you don't get a lot of resources. It actually feels like a pretty bad place to be. And there's concerns for Chieftain just very rarely getting that item.
Yeah, much like patch 8.11 on these junglers continuing to get gold and try to stack themselves up in items, especially when you look at BLG with the composition that they're running. A lot of the gold is going to be shoveled into Jin Zhao to scale and try to look for the late game outplay against huge setups from Audi. But on the upside, you take a look at the rest of the composition from BLG, or sorry, from Vici, they don't really have any AP damage to worry about. So if the game goes late enough, Amazing J just builds full-on armor, could provide the utility that he needs to allow Jin Zhao to get that carry we expect.
I mean, it's always going to be a factor, but I will say that with the new Infinity Edge, there is true damage everywhere, and fair. Audi has true damage on his ultimate. Another fight in the middle lane.
Yeah, again, Caveman is the target. He steps forward, uses the ultimate to break free, but gets caught in the Hextech ultimatum. Might have an unbreakable will, but doesn't have an unbreakable back as he gets knocked down by BLG.
And just another pick to be secured. Makes you wonder, what are Vici doing in this middle lane? Just getting themselves picked off. Baron now alive. BLG most likely going to go towards the fight, not the objective. And they haven't secured the vision control outright just yet. So that ward spotting them, they know it hasn't been started.
Instead, just controlling the lanes, controlling the vision. This is the patience that I think we expect out of BLG. The fact that they are starting to turn into a more veteran team here in the LPL.
And look at the control wards through the river as well. The control is theirs, and that's that point in the game where Vici, if Caveman's getting caught out of position for the second time, perhaps the third time, the team was there to help him. But we said this in Champion Select, he's the crowd control of the composition. So until level 11, he is still fairly fragile. And BLG are focusing him down because with him gone, what is your engage tool? If you're Vici, that's always going to be the lingering question.
It certainly is. Caveman going to have to try and find better positioning moving around this mid lane in the future, especially if BLG are so on the ball for finding picks. Audi Stepping up towards the minion wave, but this very well could be a trap. Road and Jin Zhao are waiting on the side, but it's Caveman once again who steps up.
Who's trapped with who is the question. Caveman doesn't know if they're here.
Amazing J has found Audi. Remember, there's no flash on this Darius from the earlier fight. The shred begins. A good CC chain stalls it out. He brings down the axe, but already the kill has been picked up. Vici going for the flash, but it's answered. Jin Zhao with the sidestep. They've already killed the Darius, but that means Road has forced a flash away, and now Amazing J tanking for Jin Zhao allows them to win the trade.
And it almost feels too calm. Watching BLG play this out, they get the pick. There's no counterplay. They're late to the response, Vici. Once again, the communication being exploited, the teamwork from BLG stepping up when it means the most. They get themselves another kill, and they push themselves ever closer to having the outright lead in this game. 1 foot in front of the other is all it takes, and you watch as Vici just don't know how to respond.
Perhaps this could be the youth of the team. Still some of the players certainly veteran, but not responding quite fast enough to BLG, just with slow, steady punches that Vici don't quite see coming. Now the Cloud Dragon is being given up by BLG. Audi is back up. He's got that teleport. They don't want to take a 5v5 yet, though they do have the gold advantage, BLG that is.
Yeah,
so they're just continuing to play it patient.
They will get the Earth, Wind, and Fire Drakes for themselves, of course. And someplace we have to look now, of course, Baron now starting to be moved towards for Vici, is the items. There's a Sterix Gauge for Fire Rain as his second item of choice. Did not rush the Infinity Edge. Snow didn't go towards the Essence Reaver. He went for the Black Cleaver. Both of those item choices are unconventional in their decisions. Of course, Black Cleaver always good, Sterix always good, but it isn't the optimal item in terms of damage output. It's more of a bruiser build for both of them respectively. They help each other in terms of damage output. Black Cleaver, of course, amplifying the team's physical damage that they're dealing in the mid-game. And that's the place that we have to bring it back to. Mid-game.
Yes.
They want to spike very soon. They want to team fight very soon. They want to win very soon. They still scale if they get ahead for sure, but they want to be ahead now.
They just need to try and finish this game off before that Kaisa becomes too scary, before that Poppy becomes too tanky. And now they're running once again as a roaming death squad, looking for a pick, but this time Chieftain on a much more mobile champion. Mole also seems to be communicating a little bit more clearly with his team, isn't getting caught out in the minion waves. That said, with so much pressure from Vici on the top side of the map trying to find a pick, that leaves Amazing J to continue to push into the tier 2 that was already chipped down a little bit earlier, and it's this constant tug and push, tug of war, that's the name of the game, between these two teams to try and find an opening.
Getting closer and closer to a point in the game, however, for BLG where they're feeling way too confident. The itemization we spoke towards on Vici, well, on the opposite side, it is the AP Kaiser build, the more conventional of late. Going towards the Nash's Tooth, past the Nash's Tooth.
A little bit more popularized as Amazing J picks himself up a blue buff despite trying to pass it over to Jin Zhao.
And past the Nash's Tooth, the reason that I want to bring this up is it's usually a Zonya's.
Yes.
Or a Death Cap. Or another very relevant item. Against the Yasuo, against the Darius with the reset, Zonya's going to be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to do so much work for him in a team fight, and that helps a lot with the Lulu, not necessarily having to target him straight away to keep him going.
Mole with the immediate wild growth. Just doesn't want to risk Fire Rain or anyone else showing up. Road, the Wanderer, looking for some wards, is able to hop to safety, but might be caught out as Rain is set to collapse. Road will get sped and escorted away. Even the teleport from Audi, Vici are greedy. They are hungry for this, but they're not going to find it. A late teleport from AJ mid.
It's actually so hard to find the engage. Caveman has no flash on his Alistar. He's just running at them, being very scary. 2 control wards on the Baron, and Vici are kicking this one off. They want the turn.
They're going to try and force this fight here. Amazing J steps up. He's chunked down to half already. The wall is denied as Caveman goes in, but it's Jin Zhao on the side. He gets one with Mole, and they continue to fight it out as even Scuttle wants in on the action. Hextech ultimatum, but Mole dives into the back line looking for one. Snow chases it down for the second, pinned against the wall, but it's not enough as that's a kill for Audi, a double. And Amazing J trying to retreat as Audi will catch up to him, brings the hammer down. Not quite enough to catch up as Caveman will die on that back side. And when the chaos is all said and done, it's 3 kills for 3.
What a crazy fight. Amazing J is still alive. He's too tanky. There's too much armor there. They're not going to get him. And Mole's still alive on the other side of the fight. You barely knew he was there until somehow he's getting kills on the back end. Just run at each other is the compositions. And we saw literally that But unfortunately for both teams, too many died for it to mean anything. The consequence of this fight is go back to base and try again with summoners missing and see what happens in the forthcoming fights. And I actually think that the summoners being missing favors BLG right now because their AD carry still has them.
Jin Zhao not even using the stopwatch in that fight or even the Void Rush to try and look for any sort of outplay. I'm not entirely certain what caught him in that last engage, but he died very quickly, I can only
most
imagine.
likely see it in the replay, of course. The weird thing about that fight, if we pay attention to Jin Zhao, is that he could have used the stopwatch on the flash ultimate from Audi, but he was most likely going to die regardless. So you could choose to save that one, keep it for a little bit longer. Perhaps the next fight that comes up now to be much more relevant.
And that's exactly what we see. Vici Gaming, they just said try once. If at first you don't succeed, try again. They turn onto the Baron, but this time there's no vision from BLG. Blue Trinket will spot this out, but Baron's already down to about half. Not to mention they've still got that Mountain Dragon. Road steps up. Amazing J in the front. Chieftain on the side is still sitting on his smite, but that's Fire Rain knocked out. Chieftain going to be pulled in way too far. Going to drop the ultimatum. Jin Zhao trying to shred through and get the kill on the side, but he doesn't have the damage yet. They've killed the jungler. Chieftain, Road in the front, trying to tank for his team. Jin Zhao still looking for the outplay. Caveman with the flash knockup, and Fire Rain follows it up for the slam dunk. Vici Gaming are winning this fight as Amazing J is again forced to retreat the exact same path as last time. Mole, though, is running the other direction. Snow, I don't know if he can try to make this outplay happen, but he does not. He finally gets the kill as Fire Rain will chase down onto Mole. Just gets distracted, though, and turns back towards the Baron.
A lot of fights, a lot of skirmishes. The team fights completely split apart, but Vici get enough kills this time and enough of them stay alive that they are able to look towards the Baron and most likely secure that one for themselves from the start of a perhaps promising moment from Bilibili.
Very good play from Vici Gaming to find that fight. Caveman with the flash knockup. Fire Rain communicating enough to follow through. Means that Baron will be picked up by Vici off the back of the fight. The Mole will use that window of opportunity to push that bottom lane, trade a tier 2 for a tier 1, and now there are pings onto that spawning Infernal.
The end result is still a major win for Vici Gaming, of course. You mentioned the Infernal. That's a place that BLG want to sneak it away from them before they get the Baron recalls in and then get to the objective. But right now, Chieftain has to be super careful because they are sprinting here now.
Every bit of damage helps. Chieftain able to get the Infernal, but only just before Fire Rain shows up.
Straight down mid lane. The mid lane outer turret should be taken from Vici completely uncontested. They just got the top lane. The map is open. The map is now theirs for the taking. And whilst the gold hasn't fully reflected in a majorly advantageous position, it's just the 4,000 to 5,000 mark. Things are starting to blow wide open in Vici's favor.
We're starting to see some big item completions as well. The Trinity Force finished on both junglers in addition to that. The Infinity Edge finally finished for Fire Rain. He's got that Essence Reaver to dance around these fights. Vici, they wanted to fight a few moments ago and it worked out for them. Now they've got the Baron and even more incentive to hunt down more fights.
And we said for the second items, the Sterix, the Black Cleaver for Snow. Well, now they've got 3. They have got the items that you want to see in their core build. They are super powerful. And they're snowballing with that Baron buff, controlling Amazing J in the side lanes, potentially even diving him if he steps up too far. He's super tanky, but when there's true damage hitting him everywhere now, he'll still die.
Now, BLG are actually matching the rotation of Vici here. Fire Rain heading back mid, and BLG are actually able to defend, giving up only their mid tier 1.
And you know, the ultimate weakness of Bilibili's composition is still Chieftain on the Camille. He's so fragile. He's being taken apart by all of the bruisers running at him. There's crowd control on the Jax. There's crowd control on the Darius that lock down the front line. They are just killing him near immediately. If you kill someone straight away in a fight with the Darius in your composition, he's got the resets, he's got the 5 stacks, and then you just win the team fight straight away after that, and that's what they're doing at the moment. Exploiting Chieftain. He's even gone towards the stopwatch, acknowledging that it's not a good position to be in.
BLG are split on 2 sides, drops the aura and separates 2 members. BLG are able to defend their inhibitor turret, but Vici just walk it right back. They've got another minion wave and still 60 seconds on that Baron buff. Fire Rain still hasn't been dealt with.
Requires 2 people to deal with Fire Rain at the moment, so Vici just bring 4 people down to the bottom lane, rotate towards mid when they find that opportunity. Constantly moving, constantly pressuring. There's no vision to speak towards from Vici. Just brute forcing the entirety of this.
trying to open up the map and make later picks, later fights that much easier for them. I don't know if they're going to be able to get up to the inhibitor, as this cannon minion successfully defended is going to finally break down that mid-tier 2. Only a single tier 2 on the top half of the map for BLG still standing, but they do have a massive minion wave set to crash up top.
And they are feeling really good for themselves now. Vici can actually control the tempo of this game. They go for the turrets, they make the slow plays. We said perhaps their vision control wasn't the best that we have seen from a team in the LPL. That's absolutely still going to hold true, but they get the fight, and that's what matters the most. You see it here for BLG at this Baron fight. It looks good because they knock away the Yasuo, so they look for the moment, but how quickly Chieftain dies, the resources that are used to keep him alive, but he's still going to die in the end. And then no one to stand in front of Jin Zhao. He doesn't get to use the stopwatch here also. Note that he just gets pulled, headbutted, pulled in, killed. Still has the stopwatch available, but the combo from the Alistar as the major source of engage, far too strong. And then you get the yakety sacks trying to navigate against each other.
Chase down a Lulu. If ever there was a fruitless endeavor, that would have to be it. Too whimsical of a champion to really pin down and find that final kill, but still 33.5 minutes in, Vici Gaming, they've opened up the map. It hasn't reached a critical tipping point yet, but it's starting to get close. BLG are still capable of delaying, looking for the miracle late game teamfight that their composition is built around. They just need to survive until they finish those final items on the Kai'Sa, on the Poppy.
You know, no choice of the QSS here from Jin Zhao, going straight towards the needlessly large rod after the zone is Hourglass. And still has a Doran's Ring there. Very risky proposition. Jax is the major source of just pure crowd control, sure, but you can QSS flash out of things, and that's always something worth considering when they kill you so quickly. You're going the AP build, you want to get the 6 stacks off as fast as possible. So firstly, you need to stack up the Guinzoo's Rage Blade. Yasuo makes that difficult with the Wind Wall. That's your first problem, right? So can't stack the Guinzoo's. Yasuo a great pick for that reason alone. But then also being AP and wanting to hit the stacks off constantly and deal empowered damage with your auto attack passive. All of this looks like a really difficult thing to navigate, and you have to step up in range of crowd control to do that. I think that's why you need that QSS there, the flash QSS, to keep you within range dealing damage.
It seems like that's what we were seeing from BLG in that last fight, was that Jin Zhao was relying on Road and Amazing J to stand in front of him and allow him to step forward. It's when we see the long engage from Caveman or the flash apprehend from Audi that prevents that Kai'Sa from stepping in. And this is where it comes down to the individual outplays of the players of Vici Gaming. Do they have the experience in this type of situation, especially as this new 5-man roster here in the LPL, to bring down BLG? We know what BLG are going to try to do. Can they actually do it? And now the timer has begun. 40 seconds for the Elder Dragon and 60 seconds for that next Baron. So seems like BLG are out of time to try and stall things out.
Yeah, do Vici have the experience is a valid question, but what they do have is the positioning right now from their rookie players. The only person that has been caught out of position this entire set is Caveman. Yeah. Every single time, but in game 1 he was the Nautilus, wasn't ideal, went 0-6. In game 2 it's the Alistar. So you get caught out of position, press R. Something we said at the start of the game, BLG can only find Caveman. Well, now that he's level 11, even harder to kill. So they're losing team fights.
Ooh, this is a trap if ever I've seen one. Amazing J happily walks in. 3 full armor items and the Ninja Tabby. But Elder Dragon has spawned. Vici with 3 elemental buffs are going to turn onto it. Void Seeker flies by.
Looks like it's all about stacking up the Yasuo Tornado, baiting the Elder Dragon. Look at Caveman. Is completely missing off the map right now with a wide flank.
Shows up from behind. He's been spotted now. Jin Zhao fires across once again. Oh no, the knockup misses. Elder Dragon resets. Hook into the front onto Amazing J. It's now or never. Chieftain goes in, but that's Elder Dragon picked up by Vici. Swift in the front line to chase down these kills. Chieftain resets it, and the flash apprehension. Jin Zhao going to follow up, and that's Jin Zhao dying. Snow finds the kill as BLG are falling apart in this fight.
They lose the Elder Dragon. They get out smoked. They also lose the team fight afterwards. Elder Dragon straight to Baron buff from the looks of it is the name of the game here for Vici. Even running it down mid lane instead. Snow has got the teleport, so whilst he's in a side lane, still very relevant. Looks like Vici have just got what it takes now after winning that team fight to push forwards and close out perhaps, at least get an inhib.
Yeah, they've still got the 5 stack. It's 20 seconds before Jin Zhao is back up. At the very least, this is going to be an inhibitor. as Mole and Amazing J will try to defend, but they can't even get close to these minions against the 5 members. That Elder Mountain Dragon is shredding through. Still 7 seconds before Jin Zhao, but Vici decide to play it safe. Not only do they have a numbers advantage, they have a stats advantage, and still they want to secure this win. No chance of mistake, and that's the old Vici that we know and love.
They're still navigating this expertly, of course, Vici, with the patient style of play, with the slow style of play. Get the recalls, go to the Baron. You've still got the duration of the Elder, just that little bit longer left on it to ensure that you take down the Baron in 5 seconds flat, given their composition as well. If they all start hitting it at the same time, it will go down incredibly quick. And that gives BLG one option. That is, be here immediately, look for the fight immediately. Don't give them an opportunity to start.
Yeah, and take a look at Jin Zhao. He rushed out of the base to take some Krugs and finish off the Rabadons. That means he's on his way to the Baron right now, but without the AD carry, Vici have got priority. They have got the superior positioning as they step into the river.
Yeah, they have priority regardless because of the Elder Dragon. It's about, can they actually stop this Baron? BLG, they've grouped up as 5, but look how quick it dies.
Massive shred. Amazing J going to knock away only the support. Culling only going to find Road just a little bit. Chieftain still has the hook shot, but no engage follows. Now Baron buff picked up by Vici. They've still got that first Elder stack on top of them as Audi starts to charge forward. No flash apprehend this time, but that's what he's got Caveman for. That's what he's got Swift for.
Lots of great slows from BLG on the disengage. The risk is always the flash, the summoner spells of Vici. Caveman is the man to look at, because he's got that up and available, and Amazing J can prevent that if he stands in the front line. Use that W.
Amazing J still just holding on. Minion wave building for Vici in the top lane. Chieftain dealing with the super minions in that bottom lane. Soaking up as much golden experience as he can to try to catch up to Swift.
Lose too much health to actually be relevant in the mid lane siege, right? That's going to lose the turret.
And that's what we see. Mole steps to the side, and immediately the turret is shoved by BLG.
Okay, man.
They're going to go for the knock up the last breath. Once again, Jin Zhao flashes away, but he gets destroyed by Audi. The further chase as Mole and the rest of BLG fall apart at the seams. Vici take the team fight, and they're going to take game 2, bringing us to round 3.
Vici absolutely smash BLG after they get that first Baron, get themselves the win. And they do take us to game 3, but they look really clean doing it.
Making sure they don't take any chances with these late fights, with the late pushes. They want to ensure they have a 100% success rate in these engages. The composition works out for them. They get the advantage. Audi gets revenge against Amazing J. And Vici bring us to game 3.
Audi once again having a very good showing. There was no moment in game 1, there was no moment in game 2 where you're like, Audi, he's weak. He's showing nerves. None of those things exist. He still looks super strong, comes into game 2, controls the lane, gets the CS lead, team fights well as the Darius. But more importantly, the thing that changed between game 1 and 2 that gave them the victory was Caveman. He went from a 0-6 Nautilus to the person engaging the team fight, setting up the Yasuos for the combo. Every time he had the flash, all he had to do was scale up, get levels, and get that team fight. And once again, Vici, they out-team fight BLG.
Yeah, which is almost completely unprecedented to say. Vici, the slow team, the tempo team, the death by 1,000 paper cuts, take an aggressive team fight composition against BLG, the Miracle Makers, very well known for their cool under pressure in these sort of dangerous situations, and they're able to make it work. You can see the massive damage that Lucian did. Snow stepping up over the course of that fight, and every time it was just concentrating who's going to engage. Is it going to be the Alistar?
Yeah.
Is it going to be the Darius? And Fire Rain and Snow easily following up on the back.
And you can see the damage that Snow dealt there, pretty much double anyone else on his team. He was the silent assassin throughout all of that game, with all of the bruisers standing completely in front of him. You don't see the damage that he's putting out, but he was demolishing everybody through those team fights, was doing a very good job. And Vici individually are all playing very well right now.
Yeah.
The small points that you'd be looking at is how slow they are to rotations and, you know, giving openings to BLG, getting picked a lot as well. Those things, if they clean it up, making them a very good team already.
Yeah, it very well could be. That said, it's time for our analysts to break down what happened in that Game 2 Vici win.
All right, we're killing it. Death by 1,000 cuts, Vici, it's gone. It's just, get it out of your minds. That was 2017. It's maybe the first part of 2018. It's gone now. It's a completely different team. We saw some great stuff coming out of Vici this game. And honestly, by the mid-game, no, we were talking about it. It's just like, this is probably still going to be a BLG win. Here we are. We're going to Game 3.
And it's all because of the picks that are coming through, right? That's the first step at the very least. The first step was the confidence. The confidence to pick up the Darius because they saw the Poppy come through. Darius has always been in the mentions of, well, what's a proper counter pick versus Poppy because Poppy doesn't have the range and damage in the early laning phase. Darius demolishes the matchup. Wasn't the case in this one. It was just Poppy did quite well to get out of the laning phase alive. And then the Yasuo last pick. Yasuo is a fun one just because like the picks already came through. The Alistar is already there. But I wanted to make a mention of Yasuo here just because Fire Rain has played it in the LSPL before, and he's picking it up now just because it's in the meta now. You see him, Bjergsen, FLICKR, everyone just picking it up for themselves. It got that nice buff recently, and so it works out well for him.
Yeah, the thing we have to mention about these two compositions is Vici, they're going for something that's very easy to execute. I think that's great for new teams. You got a lot of engage options. It's very clear when you're going in, you're going all in, basically. But this composition, it's not as easy to play as it seems sometimes because you're all inning on physical damage. And when that comes to the late game, they actually could not kill AJ very easily. And that's why we were talking about, hey, it looks like there's going to be a shift where BLG might be able to disengage with the Poppy, might be able to get that Lulu ultimate onto the correct target. But I think a huge problem was for the first 3 engages that they met each other, we actually didn't see a correct flash from Jinzhao. We actually just got caught out by Caveman. Caveman didn't even need to use the flash combo to get it, and that really snowballed the early fights over to Vici, where they couldn't save it anymore.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, but that's often the future. I want to talk about more about the early game here and talk about the early plays that were made from Vici, because when you look towards the bottom lane, these aggressive plays were not just A, aggressive, but B, they were made with confidence, Raz.
Yeah, real confidence. This is why you already mentioned it. Death by 1,000 paper cuts no longer. It's just death by
haymaker.
one mass. You can say a haymaker. I'm going for the elbow drop because it's already coming in from a TP side. And the moment they see the headbutt pulverizer combo come down to Braum, you'll get this beautiful combination, 5 members strong from Vici Gaming grouping up for this early gameplay.
Yeah, and you're right. It looked like Audi was coming up the top rope there as well, so I think we can definitely go with the wrestling analogies for that one for sure. But then it was from there we were like, okay, are we stalling out? Are we going to start hitting BLG team fights? You were saying at the start of the day, Clement, this is the premier 5v5 team fighting team. Is this going to be the top 3 in the East? Well, I don't know if you're feeling the same now, Clement.
I'm actually feeling a lot weaker about BLG because the big thing is in these two games that we didn't really see the dominance from Chieftain and Mole like we saw at the end of the last split over here. Chieftain had some really questionable plays where he got caught out here and there, and I don't think Mole was actually that dominant in pushing the lane right there.
Yeah, let's put some tape to what you're saying there, Clement, because you're talking about around the Baron and specifically talking about Chiefs. And go ahead and take a look at these Baron fights because it was less of a fights and more of some strange plays coming out of BLG that were setting them up on the wrong foot.
So it started well. Amazing J really took 2 people off the fight right here. Oh, this isn't actually this is the first one where they were going into it, and this is a good position for Vici Gaming just because it forces the enemy team to go back into them. And Audi was able to get into the backline and find people.
And remember this, one real tricky thing about the composition that BLG is running here is their primary form of engage is going to be Mole using his ultimate on top of Chieftain. Chieftain dies immediately because guess what? Camille is a bruiser. Going to Trinity Force, she's the first one that gets taken down when you're trying to go front to back versus Darius. And of course, Lucian is really hard to catch. So front to back should work heavily in favor of Vici Gaming for this composition, and it's all really on Amazing J to see if he can get a proper ulti to just make an even fight, you could say, if you take one number down. So that's where the real hope lies. It's just a difficult one playing around Poppy, and I think Vici were cognizant of it.
It seemed like that, but it seemed at the same time that Chieftain has not been playing as well as he was last split. You know, you saw Chieftain and Mole, and they came hot onto the scene. They blasted multiple people and multiple teams. They were like, where is this BLG? Why didn't it come in earlier? Why was Athena playing all the way up until the end of the split? Why was SKS there? And immediately you looked at a playoff team that could maybe make the run. Chieftain did not look the same today like he had before. You know, looking at a Camille, as you said, going face first into a Darius. What's going on?
And that's the big thing I want to note on. I feel like they should pick Mole into good matchups and matchups where he can snowball aggressively on. That's what they were most successful in the last split with their Zoe and kind of like Skarner combinations, where if they could just win the 2v2, they could take things elsewhere. They've put Mole right now on more of a supportive, on a more slower role compared to Fire Rain. And to be honest, Mole is still winning these lanes. I think they just need to amp up the power in that position to get the same effect they had in Spring.
And to answer your question about specifically the jungler here for Chieftain, I think obviously day one coming into it, few mistakes are being made. I think great points are coming across in game one specifically, where on the Rek'Sai pick, he was moving quite often times with the support here. So I would love to see that coming forward in game three. In game three, I want to see not so much the Camille jungle, just because I think you could see the difficulties coming out of the team fights. I would love to see more. Either you can go back to the Rek'Sai, and I think the early game looks better for you, or we can see you playing along with Amazing J on a tank, and you can be a confident team fighting team. So I'm not counting him out just yet. I think Chieftain's a really strong jungler for the team that had a really tough game.
Yeah, we've got to just keep our eye on it for now, keep tracking him and see how he's doing. And Clement, I want to go back to your point earlier that you were talking about Amazing J, because when we take a look at this Elder Dragon fight right here, it was all down to this one ultimate. I know we were sat backstage, we were looking at it, it was like, all right, you've got to hit it.
Here he goes. He should have hit at least 2 people right there, doesn't make it, and then once more the Caveman gets into the back line. Yasuo follows up. The first one to die is your main damage dealer, and you just know the fight's over there.
And the big thing about it is this: before the replay even starts, it was going to be the Alistar coming in at a flank.
Yeah.
So that was something you had to keep cognizant of. They do catch it out, and then you already talked about it. Poppy doesn't have or at least misses out in the ultimate, and then that's when you realize it's going to turn into a 5v5. It's going to be a front to back, and that's when Vici were already winning those fights to begin with. You get Elder Dragon, that's lights out.
Yeah, I guess this is the first time we've seen BLG having to play a kiting style of team fight. This is something probably that's new to them. Most of the time, they're the one doing the main initiations.
Sure.
So maybe just draft for that.
And there have been a lot of inconsistencies with BLG, but also at the same time with Vici. And this time, actually, one of the few times you can say inconsistencies in a good way, because we saw that Caveman, he was playing Who Can Feed Harder, BLG or me, in the first game. And in the second game, made some monstrous plays from start to finish. He will take our MVP in this one. Honest Alistair played. There was one time I remember where he got completely destroyed by a minion, but apart from that, had some fantastic plays.
Yeah, I felt bad for him in that one instance. Remember, 17 assists means he got 100% kill participation. His headbutt pulverized combos, one time, I remember this one, he was able to get 5 people, and even though no lives were given away in either respect, that was flashes taken just because of the man being able to get incredible combinations on this Alistar.
Definitely really good mechanics coming out from this player. It's just about roaming around the map and not getting caught for his position, and I think he's pretty good.
I mean, I just have to talk about the fact he had 100% kill participation on Alistair. 0, 2, and 17. That is just crazy to see out of support. And Caveman, obviously, it was 50-50, but coming into that second game, we know what Caveman is capable of. At the end of the day, he's a bard player, he's a playmaker, so if we can keep seeing this out of Caveman to support the new players like Aldi in the top lane, we could see a very strong team coming out of Vici. Just finally, before we head to break, who do you think is going to take this third and final game? Of course, it's the first day of the LPL, so of course we went to 6 games, but who is it going to be?
I got one wrong before. I'm not afraid to do it twice.
Go for it, man.
I want to stick with BLG, man. I just think that this type of composition probably isn't what they're used to, and if they just go back to full engage mode, it's probably just better for them.
Yeah, I'll take BLG just because looking back to early game on game 1, I think that really suited their style. We'll probably not see the Poppy, and it makes it a lot easier for them to engage.
Yeah, a relatively safe bet right here. We'll see if that rings true. We are going to take a quick break, but when we get back, we'll be coming in for our 6th and final game of the night.